Music Theory 1, Part 10, with Odessa Balan. Earlier in this series, you learned about the different kinds of notes, clefs, and time signatures. You learned about the circle of fourths and fifths, the major keys, and their relative minors. You also learned about intervals, chords, and closely related sharp and flat keys. Now it's time to look at common chord progressions. Primary chords. In parts 7, 8, and 9 of this series, you learned that the three chords that are most used are 1, 4, and 5, or the tonic, subdominant, and the dominant. These are called the primary chords, and they sound like this. Progressions. When we put the primary chords together in a song, it is called a progression. In Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, the progression is 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. And it sounds like this. But the order of the chords could happen differently depending on the song. In the song Long, Long Ago, the chord progression is in a slightly different order from Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. This chord progression is 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. And it sounds like this. Pop quiz. Please pause the video to see if you can answer these questions correctly. Don't worry, the answers are on the next slide. How did you do? Did you get all the answers right? Adding a seventh to the root, third, and fifth. One thing we can do to a chord is add a seventh on top of the root, third, and fifth. The most common chord to add a seventh on top is the dominant or 5 chord. However, every chord can be made into a seventh chord to be used in a given song or piece. Here are all of the primary chords for the C major scale with a seventh added to the dominant or 5 chord, making it a 5-7. Making the 5 a 5-7 gives it a stronger pull towards the tonic or 1 chord. The 5-7 and the diminished 7 chords. When we add a seventh to the root, third, and fifth of the 5 chord, we are actually combining 2 chords together. These 2 chords are the 5 and the diminished 7 chords. When you add the 5 chord and the diminished 7 chord together, you get the 5-7. The 5 chord in C major is G, B, D. And the diminished 7 chord in C major is B, D, F. And the 5-7 chord in C major is G, B, D, F. Inversions of the 5-7 chord. The 5-7 chord has 4 notes and therefore has 3 inversions. 3-note chords only have 2 inversions before landing back in root position. The numbers next to the 5 are showing the intervals above the bottom note of the chord. We have root position, G, B, D, F. We have first inversion, B, D, F, G. We have second inversion, D, F, G, B. And we have third inversion, F, G, B, D. The numbers next to the 5 chord are showing the intervals above the bottom note of the chord, but we abbreviate these numbers. So the root position is really 5, 7, 5, 3. This means that there's a seventh above the bottom note, a fifth above the bottom note, and a third above the bottom note. But we abbreviate it to 5-7. The first inversion is really 5-6-5-3. But we abbreviate it to 5-6-5. The second inversion is really 5-6-4-3. But we abbreviate it to 5-4-3. The third inversion is really 5-6-4-2. But we abbreviate it to 5-4-2 or just 5-2. What a difference the 5-7 makes. The most important note or chord in a scalar key is number 1, or the tonic. So the function of the other notes or chords refer to how or if they pull the listener back to the tonic, or to another chord that then pulls the listener back to the tonic. While the dominant or 5 chord does have a strong pull back to the tonic or 1 chord, the 5-7 has a much stronger pull. You can hear that in this example of Humoresque by Dvorak. You can definitely hear that last chord wanting to pull it back to 1. Pop quiz, please pause the video to see if you can answer these questions correctly. Don't worry, the answers are on the next slide. How did you do? Did you get all the answers right? More chord progressions. The primary chords, 1, 4, and 5, are the most used when harmonizing a melody, but there are other commonly used chord progressions to consider as well. For example, we could also include chords such as the 6 and the 2 when harmonizing melodies and songs. Here is the vamp for Heart and Soul using 1, 6, 4, 5 and 1, 6, 2, 5. The melody on top of this could be improvised in C major. We can even substitute the 6 chord for the 4 chord and vice versa to change the mood of a melody. Here are 2 examples of the same melody, but the first example's progression is 1, 4, 6, 4, 2, 5, 4, 3, 1. And the second example's progression is 1, 6, 6, 2, 5, 4, 3, 1. And it sounds like this. As you probably guessed, as songs get longer, so do the chord progressions used in that song. Here is one example of a slightly longer progression. 1, 6, 6, 4, 6, 4, 2, 5, 4, 3, 1, 6. The function of chords and their progressions. The main function of chords is to establish the key of the piece in the listener's ear. Chords give movement to a song by pulling to other chords that then pull back to the tonic or 1 chord. Here is a list of how each commonly used chord functions to establish the key in major key signatures. The 1 chord progresses normally to any chord. The 4 chord progresses normally to 1, 5, or 2. The 5 or 5/7 progresses normally to 1. The 2 chord progresses normally to 5 or 5/7. The 6 chord progresses normally to 2 or 4. Normal chord progressions. Normal chord progressions are those progressions that are the most likely used in most songs in Western music, that is, music of the USA and Europe. This means that you can choose almost any song and you will find one of these chord progressions as the harmony for that song. We have 1-5-1. We have 1-4-5-1. We have 1-4-2-5-1. We have 1-6-2-5-1. We have 1-6-4-5-1. And we have 1-6-4-2-5-1. Pop quiz. Please pause the video to see if you can answer these questions correctly. Don't worry, the answers are on the next slide. How did you do? Did you get all the answers right? Minor melodies. How can we tell if a melody is minor just by looking at the first few measures? The first thing to notice is if there are any added accidentals, sharps, flats, or naturals that are not in the key. The second thing to notice is if the added accidentals are in the order of sharps and flats in the order of keys. If not, then it is most likely a minor key. Let's take a look at this little melody. There is one sharp in the key signature, F sharp, so it is either in G major or E minor. When we take a closer look at the fifth measure, we will notice the D sharp. D sharp is not the next sharp in line in the order of sharps. D sharp happens to be the raised seventh of E harmonic minor, and it sounds like this. When choosing chords to harmonize melodies in a minor key, we use the same rule that we do for the major keys. It is most likely that the primary chords 1, 4, and 5 will work. The primary chords in E harmonic minor are E minor, EGB equals 1, A minor, ACE equals 4, and B major, B D sharp F sharp equals 5, or B7, B D sharp F sharp A equals 5/7. Lowercase equals minor chord, uppercase equals major chord. And it sounds like this. Let's take a look at another melody. What do we notice about the key signature? Are there any added accidentals? There is one flat, B flat, which means it is either an F major or D minor. In the fourth measure, there is a C sharp, which is not in our key signature. C sharp happens to be the raised seventh of D harmonic minor, and it sounds like this. Primary chords are the first in line when choosing chords to harmonize any melody. If there is a melody note that clashes with the notes in the primary chords, that is when we look at other chord possibilities. The primary chords in D harmonic minor are D minor, D F A equals 1, G minor, G B flat D equals 4, and A major, A C sharp E equals 5. Lowercase equals minor chord, uppercase equals major chord. And it sounds like this. Please review what you learned. The most important note or chord in any key is the one or tonic. The main function of chords is to establish the key of the piece in the listener's ear. Chords give movement to a song by pulling to other chords that then pull back to the tonic or one chord. Normal chord progressions are those progressions that function around the key and tonic note or chord. Thank you for viewing. Feel free to go back in this video to review what you learned. Stay tuned for more Theory with Odessa.